to the area of the powerhouse. That's the front, sides, the back of the trunk, and also essentially to whole body awareness. One of the Pilates principles is concentration. So let's start today's practice by concentrating in an alert way, but without causing hardening. So concentrating on the alignment, breathing, and centering. Taking 3 deep, nourishing breath cycles. You might want to create a H-A-ha sound as you exhale and soften the mouth. And adding the arms as you breathe in, big, medium, large, or small circle or floating arms up, and then exhale as you float, sail, and release your arms down. Remember, the crown is lengthening, so you want to keep sensing this neutral pelvis, and also as the arms float out, this is rib cage arms, so you want to feel like there's little attachments from the arm down to the hip and through the armpit to the rib baskets, and they are like eagle's wings floating up and drawing down from your back body. So can we sense the movement of the muscles in the sides and the back, and also the scapulae? So widening on the in-breath. Make sure the neck and the throat does not tense up, and then exhaling to release down, slowing down that exhalation if you can, for good breath and for calming the nervous system. Okay, let's shake out those arms again, and then coming into shrugs and release, but on a one-sided basis. So as you inhale now, draw the left shoulder up to your ear, and just notice a calm, soothing, loosening in the right. Steady eyes to horizon as you squeeze that shoulder up to the ear. Pause, squeeze, contract, and then slowly melt and slide that shoulder down. The arm releases down, and give it another little shake. 2 more in that left side. So breathing in, shrug, hold, draw up, lifting the shoulder head, feeling the scapulae slide up the back. You might even want to tilt your ear lightly towards that shoulder and notice the impact there. And then sliding down, and you may want to coordinate that with your next exhale as the head comes back to center. Inhale, squeeze, lift, soften the mouth and jaw. Choose the option of just tilting your left ear towards the left shoulder, but notice the angling. Do you want to tuck your chin in, or do you also want to just lift the gaze towards the corner of your room, and then release that contraction, sliding the shoulder down, back to neutral, and sliding the arms out. And just notice how you feel along that left side of the shoulder complex, there, the shoulder region. Shake out the knees. Soften the body. Let's inhale and squeeze the right shoulder upwards, keeping neutral, and then melting away. And notice, please, that the smoothness of the melt. Can you notice as you squeeze, shrug, and contract, and then maybe you bring that right ear to the shoulder and just pause for a moment, noticing that you've dropped through that left, it's relaxed. And then softly melt down, bringing everything back to center. Remember to add and include good breath cycles. 1 more. Inhale, squeeze, shrug. Perhaps choose to tilt. Maybe you can tilt a little bit more. So stay within your range, but also be in good observance of exactly where you are finding that deep contraction and where it's helping you to release tension as you melt away. And then centering, shaking out. And then rolling is good, of course. So this is a shoulder circle / shoulder roll. But also what can feel really good, and do make sure you don't get too stagnant in the feet and legs. What can be good as well is the Pilates shoulder box. And in the Pilates shoulder box, we shrug up to the top of that box, pause and hold. We draw backwards to the top back corner of the imaginary box. You've got these boxes inside your shoulder. That is scapular squeeze. Avoid turkey neck, so keep the back skull soft, relaxed and centered, and then draw down, so that's pulling your shoulders south, and you'll feel a squeeze under your armpits, and then roll forward to the bottom front of that box. And at this point you can pause and feel a mild rounding of the upper back, and then return to center and shrug up again. Of course that can move much faster, so I'm going up to top, squeeze to back, down, forward, up, back, down and forward, up and back and down and forward. And you might feel little pops and cracks as you just release away. Shake that out, and let's go in the other direction. So draw down and back, and then up and gather forward. So we're going down, squeezing down as if you're drawing heavy bags downwards. So that's kind of going down south. We're going to squeeze to the back of the box, an action that I call west, if you like, going west, and then up to north, and then pulling forward, if you like, to east. So this is a shoulder box in Pilates, but also it's what I call north, south, east, west in somatic movement. Remember, you are breathing, and although these actions are quite definitive, they will turn into, at the close, your shoulder rolls. So let's close with those now, easing through those shoulders, softening out the breath, and then again, shake out the arms. So we've used north, south, east and west, and we've also used the gentle singular shrugging. And then should the shoulders feel flowish enough, let's bring now one arm into internal rotation. I call this sun visor. And then draw the arm up above, centering in your mirror, if you have it, sun hat. And then as you release outwards in a big arm circle, that is our sun ray. So let's go again. Breathing in, sun visor to sun hat, centering as best you can. Pause and exhale around to that sunshine or sun ray. Inhale at the peak here, feel this opening of the broad side back muscles, and the scapulae has lifted up to assist, and then you are exhaling. Lovely sigh out through the mouth and relax. And then if it's okay, just 3 more that are faster, and then 3 going the other way. Outwards, sun hat, sun visor, roll out, sun hat, sun visor, and shake that out. Just notice how that feels. Slow motion for 3 on the right. Coming internal rotation, pause as the arm covers your eyes, breathing in to find that length, and then flare out. You can flare the hand, fingers and thumbs as well. So this is all part of understanding, appreciating and embracing. Inhale there, exhale, release breath and motion, as well as finding and attending to and concentrating upon good upper body movement. I appreciate we're keeping the legs soft and relaxed. 3 faster ones. And then 3 in the other direction. And notice internal responses, breath and motion. And then shaking out again. Yeah, so we're keeping this area pretty steady. We've got that tonality through the midline. And then we're just going to step the feet a little more shoulder wide. And we're going to use a somatic movement called reach to top shelf. So with the right arms leading this one and connecting into the ball of the right foot. So just lift the ball of the right foot. So in other words, you're pressing and pressing outwards on the ball of that foot, and then of course you can do the same in the left foot. So I'm going to take the right arm across the body and imagine reaching to a shelf high up, and then extend out through the side. You can even look up if you wish, and then release back. So let's flow in, reach. Onto the tip toe of the right foot or the ball of the foot, release and reach and release. And that will help shoulders free up, because what you're doing is you're releasing through the lateral line of the body. You're coming out from just the shoulder and extending into the leg and out through the toe there. Just have a little shake. Notice how that feels. How easy was that for you? Going internal rotation, extend and lengthen. Remember, you are lengthening out and breathing, and you're pausing to really notice how that feels for you. There's no desperately right or wrong action here. It's a sense of fluid elongation, and one side might feel freer than the other. We can also go externally over and look up if you wish. So looking where you're going, because the eyes help channel spinal movement. And then ease up and shake out. And then coming back into center, noticing where we might connect the shoulders to the hips through a walking motion. And as you bend the right knee, feel that left hip just slightly hike up. And as you bend the left knee, can you feel the right hip hike and draw up to the right armpit? And then we'll walk on the spot and then relax the arms. So notice the pressure through the feet as you create this walking on the spot, and notice the flow motion through the trunk and through your shoulders. So really just loosening off as much as possible. And this is about knees, of course, tracking forward and not kind of rolling in or rolling out with bandy legs. And also be observant of the pressure through the feet, so you're not rolling onto the outer or the inner edges of your feet. Okay, and then centering. Again, in the pelvic zone, slide your pelvis left, and just imagine your bum just sliding against a wall. So can you feel your ability to side bend your pelvis? And of course, you might find that you almost roll onto the outer edges of the feet to observe perhaps a greater range. But keep your eyes on the horizon, yeah? So we're not going over and then dropping the head, sliding right and sliding left. And then again, you might want to bring your hands onto the pelvis. And how easy is it to turn your pelvis? Notice how the pelvis naturally wants to carry the trunk with. But if I bring my hands just into, if you like, Pilates Cossack, so just holding the wrists or the elbows, softening the shoulders, you and I can rotate the pelvis in isolation, or at least we should be able to. So can you steady the rib basket, the rib cages and your head, and just turn right and turn left, turn right and turn left. And you can even bring your hands into kind of yoga prayerful and try it there. And remember to breathe as you move, breathe as you turn. And it doesn't have to be a big motion, it could be quite small and subtle. So we're just coming in some glossy lower structures, and then bring hands again onto the frontal hips or slide arms down. And I'm just going to hold my palms here and then roll the pelvis into tilt and tuck. So breathing in and out as you create that scoopy action. And remember that as you roll the pelvis under, so that helps to lengthen your lumbar and it gives you access to the pelvic floor. So you might want to make sure your knees are just very lightly soft. So there is this sense of tipping forward and tipping backwards of the pelvis. Forwards and tipping backwards, and of course notice the response on the ribs. Inhale, anterior, exhale, posterior tuck. Good, well done. So it's really, we want patience and concentration. So when we're working through subtle joint actions, let's finish the standing now in the pelvis with some lovely circular actions. Just let your body find some dreamy pelvic circles. Standing steady, just side bending purely of the ribs. And of course that means that the spine side bends. So inhale, exhale as you tip left and tip right, but without shrugging and lifting those shoulders. So you might want to imagine holding heavy weights in the palms, or you might be holding your dumbbells. So can you let this pure, clean and neat side bending occur? And then I'm going to invite you to come down to lying on the back body for more considerate action of the hips and the pelvis. Before that occurs, presuming you've got a wall nearby, if you're going to go this way, bring yourself to that position we know as Pilates L-shaped stretch. So you can either just press your arms against the wall as you lengthen forward and find that the tailbone rises, and this should be giving you a lovely elongation into the muscles of the hamstring. So do feel free to take the legs wider than hip wide if you wish. Ears in line with the upper arms. And breathing and then tipping forward. So oftentimes the wall might mean, especially if you haven't got your distance right, that your buttocks or your bum are pushing back behind the heels. So can you align so that you find that tabletop back? Now the nice thing to do is bring the arms higher up the wall and just lengthen this way. So you find that opening to spinal extension, so you find a real essence of back bend. So maybe you stand for a moment and find the right position for your arms on the wall, and then as you exhale, really allow then, again, that tail to rise, the anterior tilt of the pelvis, and a lovely sense of elongation in the spine and opening up the breath all the way from the armpits and the hips. If that's a little bit too much overhead for you, you come back to your arms in line with shoulders and collarbones and reach back out, finding that table back. Try not to round, but if you are rounding, notice that and then lengthen back. And remember, the shoulder blades draw into the back, so it's the shoulder blades draw down into the back, so it's really like finding a plank-like quality for your back body. So please now come to lay on the back and finding Pilates supine semi. So therefore, it's your interest to align your feet correctly with the sit bones in the hip wide, and also to maybe have a pillow block if you need it, or your yoga block, or just lay onto the mat, completely resting those shoulder blades. And then as soon as you're lying, tilt and tuck again. So the practice that we call pelvic imprint. Lovely breath in as you flare the ribs and just open up that swelling of the breath through the body. And that elongation, please notice in your spine. And then as you exhale, softening in and down. And you may want to lift your head and just double check. Are the knees completely level? Because they won't be completely level if you staggered your feet. And also, is that pelvis level? Do you need to just lift the buttocks and lengthen your tailbone away? That can be helpful as well. Now, if I keep my feet down and I move the feet just a little bit wider, then that can give some room for a practice where you drop your knee inwards. And you might just want to warm up the mind and muscle here by allowing this to happen a few times on each side. So with hands onto those hip points, remember the pelvis, frontal hips, the ACES points are facing up towards the sky and they're level. And then I'm just allowing that left knee to drop inwards, not rocking the pelvis, and then exhaling to draw that knee back to center. And then similarly in the right, dropping the right knee inwards. Remember, it's not landing on the mat, it's just a stability action and a mobility. So right knee drops in, breathing in as you exhale, draw back to center. And you can continue with those actions with your feet on the mat. And you can also slide the right leg down long, let that relax, and just allow your concentration to come into the single left knee dropping in, and now you've got the right leg long. So it's another way of finding this joint action, breathing in as you drop, and let that left knee drop towards your midline. But remember, you're not rolling and using your pelvis. So this is femur bone only, and then exhale and bring that knee back to center. And then feel free, of course, to try the same thing with the left leg long. So the right knee is going to drop in, exhale to draw it back. This is super subtle practice today. Right knee drops in, so be aware of your restrictions, be aware of jerking or juddering or where that action is being blocked by tense muscles, and then releasing. And then just fold both thighs into the chest. And of course, notice back ribs are down, shoulder blades down, whole back is spreading. Give yourself a little massage. And then align your knees above the hips. So this is when, of course, much more stability might be noticed. So the knees are aligned above your hips, if not a little bit, slightly even further away. So you feel the pelvic core soften down. And then folding the left knee in towards the chest. Just letting it fold and drop in. You're not going to pull it and tug it, so that arms can be loose. And then lengthening that leg further away, but keeping everything stable. So we can come back to center. Both knees are level, and it's as if you've got a cup of hot tea on this right pelvic half. And then you're going to let the left thigh just fold in towards you. Feel the impact on your spine. Feel how the pelvis kind of curls and the low back waist area flattens down. And then lengthen away. You can lengthen away and down if you wish. But can you keep your pelvis completely steady hot cup of tea on this right hip. So I'm going to go in and out for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then come back to center. Take a pause and then float, fold, or drop both legs in again and create a mild massage. Keeping concentration and patience and appreciation at the forefront of your practice today. So tabletop legs, shake out those lower legs. And remember, we've got a hot cup of tea or coffee on this left knee. And we're going to drop the right thigh towards the chest relaxedly. That's hip flexion. And then slide that right leg forward and then bring it back to neutral. Pausing here to connect back ribs, container of strength. So starting to feel a little bit more tonality arriving inside the body. So I'm going to now go for 6, folding in. And lengthen for 5, 4, eyes to horizon, 3, 2, glide and flow, 1, and then centering, and as both knees fold in, just lengthen them up to the sky and fold, up and fold, or forward and fold. So it's similar to what we just did, but it's both legs. Lengthen and fold. Try some different angles. So just opening the eye at the back of the knee. And then release each foot down delicately as if the feet are resting on thin ice. And just notice any stimulation and fizzy action around those hip sockets. So going now to use just our right hip. So the left hip is going to be the pelvic stability area. So remember again to sort of feel that strengthening support of the hip. Just folding the right knee above the hip. I'm going to create what's called an out turn. So this right femur bone will roll outwards just to where it's comfortable. But for some practitioners, it's as if the right foot just kisses the left knee. And that can be a lovely little marker for this out turn. If that happens to you, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not essential. So you're going to draw the right knee above the hip, back to neutral, and you might just see your toenails just above the knee. Remember to keep the head and neck really soft, centered, and relaxed. So, out turn and return to center. So let's go for 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Breathing all the way through, and notice how that feels as you externally rotate your hip. And then again, lengthen the leg. Circle the ankle, both directions. And you might even want to exhale, curl up, and just draw support around that hamstring extended leg. Remembering your sit bones are very super grounded, or you can even walk your hands up to the lower leg and just draw the leg in a little bit and notice how that feels, and then reach the arms forward, observing the core center, and then delicately release that leg. Give yourself a little floor twist, rolling the legs super easy, left and right, without trying to get anywhere, no destination required. Let's enjoy the journey. And then centering for knee turns out. Lift the buttocks, re-lengthen, and drop weight through the pelvis. Float the left knee above the hip, and you'll just see your toenails. Take a reference movement. So hot cup of tea on the right knee and thigh as you out turn the left. Some of us might find the heel or part of the left foot gracefully kisses the right knee, And you don't have to do that. In fact, try to find a true honor, integrity of outturn rather than actually trying to, rest on that knee. So let's go. Ready for 6, outturn and center. 5. Inhale, exhale, 4. And 3. Seek glossy movement on the outturn and the return. And I think that's number 2. Number 1, what do you notice about them? Is there any difference? And then lengthen your left leg. Point, flex and circle that foot. Stir your ankle. Look at the ankle. Inhale, exhale, curl up, lift shoulders, support the leg. Often this is done with a Pilates band. And then walk up the tree. We call this Pilates walking up a tree. Take hold of the lower leg if you can, bend the elbows and just draw in enough. Nothing drastic. Foot can be soft. Curl a little bit more. Breathe and feel. And then extend the arms forward. And that leg can come back to that midline position. Remember to sink down through the hips. Stack the bones. And pelvic is neutral. Inhale, exhale here. And then gently release, feet to thin ice. Press your arms down, fully taking those shoulders, if you like, down south, reaching the fingers towards the heel, and then curl your pelvis, press through feet, and land into your shoulder bridge. And again, think of it this way, that if we had headlamps on those hips, they'd be shining brightly up to the sky. So strength on our closing movement, finding your shoulder bridge in full alignment, press through all 4 corners of the feet, breathing. And then let's add the rib cage arms. So as you float your arms up on the in-breath, stay at the collarbones, and then as you exhale, draw them to the corners of your eyes, but find that you don't twist or drop your pelvis. Inhale here, reach the fingers away, exhale all the way down, full coordination. At the landing of the arms, press them into earth as if they're going into little trenches beside you and you're planting them. Breathing into collarbones. Exhale to the ears, eyes or jaws. Inhale, reach fingers from toes, lengthen tailbone, lengthen spine. And exhale, arms all the way down and planting. Adjusting head, neck and throat. Find gluteals, inner thighs. Inhaling. Exhaling, arms reach further. Inhale, pause. Exhale all the way down, fingers reach away from shoulders, arms plant, and then peel spine down. Slide legs long. Flex the ankles and then lift your body. Reach the fingers towards the feet. Notice that lovely sense of stability through the pelvis. That's just like your Pilates standing position, but of course in line. And then again, ribcage arms. Arms float wide, like a capital Y as you breathe in here. Remember, you are not back bending, so contain the strength. Can you keep those back ribs down? Exhale, press. So let's go faster for 6. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So shoulder action isolated only, keeping ribs very toned and centered. And of course, that sense of connection all the way through to the ankles and the inner thighs. So really keeps containing, that sense of strength around your gluteals as well. Let's go for the curl. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And in the last set of 4, we'll add the flexion. So breathing in here, our arms to collarbones, ribcage arms. Exhale, bend right knee above hip, curl and reach. Inhale, exhale, left above the knee, curl, reach. 2 more. And then gather those knees in, cradle the knees, and stirring double hip circles to close. Dreamy, relaxed states of the body, mind, and breath. Reverse your circles, guiding, guiding all the way. And then press through the earth or just roll to sitting. And you can sit anyway. You may want to find a cross-legged seat because we just found those beautiful hip circles. Sit tall in your final seat. To close, willfully rotate. So lovely breath in. Exhale, turn your body, use the arms as anchors. Look over the shoulder. See the room in a new perspective and center. Inhale, exhale, rotate to the right arm behind you. Look over the right shoulder, flare out the legs if you're sitting cross-legged. Seeing yourself in a new way. And thank you so much for being here today.